Hi, it's Tom here again from FDS, and we're going to have a quick look today at this area on the Rapidstrike. This is the same as on the Stryfe. I've noticed a few people have asked about my Stryfe shark's teeth fill, and those good people over in China have designed a rather nice little 3D insert that can go into the Stryfe one with a Picatinny rail on the side, which is actually better. Having the rail further forward on the Rapidstrike is actually better for ergonomics. It's not so good for balance because obviously you have the battery tray here and you're already quite front heavy. So I've got my version of this mod, and my version of this mod is simply plastic sheet. This is my usual 1.5mm styrene, and it fits in there like that. And then obviously you can got the choice at the front here. You can either go up this way here and follow this line and have a little bit of, or you can come up and over. So if you're coming up and over, obviously you'll need to make your starting cut a bit thicker. You'll need to make your starting cut up there. This is just for the basic version. This is the same for the Stryfe. So what you do is you take your piece of sheet material. You can 1.5mm is better really than 2mm for this. Either use styrene, PVC, or PVC sheet, whatever you like. And what I did was I just cut a 22mm strip, and then I measured these angles at the back and cut those. And the next thing you need to do is you need to actually take your file. You can use a nice coarse file for this because you actually want rough on this inside surface, and you want to bevel it. Because if we look here, this is a sloping surface and you want the slopes to match all the way around. If you get this right, your part will sit really nicely, almost completely flat before you start. This saves a lot of time later when you come to sand this area, because obviously you want that to be invisible. So as you can see, that now fills in, and then you need to get a strip at the front here. So the next thing you'll need to do is cut a strip of plastic the same width as here and just bond it over the front. Now you use DevCon for this job. If you're worried about a bit of a cavity in here, you can put a bit of putty in there if you want to fill the cavity. Personally, I don't bother because DevCon's very strong. Now when you glue this together, same's true of the Stryfe. When you glue this together, you'll want to roughen this area in here. You can just hack it up a little bit like that. This is especially true if you're using conventional epoxies, kind of Nerfers, usual lousy epoxies. Obviously a rough area will give a better glue bond with those. They say you don't need to for DevCon, but I always do. So that's ready now to be bonded in, and all I've got to do is just double check the fit, and then when you fit this, make sure you put the orange part back on just loosely to hold it, because you don't want it to do this. You can see it's bendy. You don't want it to do that because then it won't glue straight. So just do that, and then you mix your DevCon up, put the DevCon around the edge, bond it in place. And then afterwards, if you look at my filler video, you can see how I filled the bits that are left behind and sanded them off. And you want to block sand that area, and then just fill the little tiny crack around the edge. So that is how I do those infill pieces. Now on the Stryfe, at the front, it's slightly different. On the Stryfe, the barrel sits in here, and this area is semicircular. So what I did on the Stryfe was I used Milliput, which is a very good filler for using in this area. The reason I like Milliput for that is because it doesn't stick to the wet surfaces. So I wetted the barrel with a sponge, put the barrel in place, and then I was able to shape the Milliput, and that just provided me with a neat front area, and then all I had to do was sand it. So that's how I did the Stryfe one. So there you go, fill in the shark's teeth on the Rapidstrike, and I think that looks really nice. That's much neater, and you won't see the ugly orange barrel.